in this industry, more often than not, you don't really feel like that fulfillment of like, you're a competitor, you want to win, you want to do things. It's not really like that. But in this instance, it was. And I just I was so happy for them. Welcome to the next episode of Pan Con Podcast.
What else you got?
Brought to you by Monopolio.
That's right. Thanks, Monopolio, for supplying some beer to us. Look at that.
We got to cheers, no?
Oh,
we got to do the thing.
We'll clink cans and then drink our stuff.
Not saying I don't like Monopolio, but I think it's more of a liquor day.
It is a liquor day. Every day is, for me, every day is primarily a liquor day, and then we'll see how the night goes.
I'm a big Monopolio fan during the day when it's hot.
That is a good point. If we were outside right now, I'd be all over the Monopolio.
And this is shockingly not an ad.
It is not. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the questions that our listeners wanted to ask you.
This is already a disaster.
But I'm getting Michael the JoJo's tea music.
Yeah. Moment of silence. Moment of silence by Michael the JoJo.
A little moment of zen. So let's start. I will be looking for the questions while you answer. You sort of say things in our first segment. This is the first recording that we've done since Ariete won its Michelin star and Chug's won its Bib Gourmand, which, fun trivia for people listening, I only learned after the fact. Do you know why it's called the Bib?
No.
See this? Everybody's learning things today.
I love it.
It is called the Bib, not because of the bib you would wear if you're a sloppy eater, but Bib is short for bibendum, which is the name of the Michelin Man.
It is the name of the Michelin Man. And actually, Nave was Michelin recommended. So
there you go.
As a company, we did a sweep.
Clean sweep.
Watch out. Correct.
Watch out, ladies and gentlemen.
It was a momentous day.
So congratulations on all of that. That is all big stuff.
Yeah, some pretty massive stuff.
So
you wouldn't really know it because no one's written anything about it in the whole city. But yeah.
What do you mean no one's written anything about it?
There's been some whatever. I won't get into it, but it's okay. It's fine.
So we've talked enough about what it would mean. I'll maybe drop links to the conversation with Nidal from way back where I think that was some good context. So I'd just say just talk about what the week has been like. We don't have to bother getting into the business implications and all that. Or maybe there's new stuff to say, but just talk about what kind of a week have you had?
Well, there he is. Clap it up for the man himself.
Oh, baby.
Michelin starred executive chef. Dad. That's what we lovingly call him here. Is Dad, Chef Manuel.
The Manny, the myth, the legend.
I would say the moment was quite surreal. I was really high anxiety. I was absolutely torn to pieces from the second I woke up. I woke up at 7. I went to sleep at 3. I woke up at 7. I worked out in my hotel room. And then I found myself down to the pool at 10, which I was not going to enter the pool. But then I found the closest bar, and I had them open early for me because I needed a cocktail to break my anxiety.
What time was this?
11 a.m.
Early? 11 a.m. cocktails.
11 a.m. cocktail.
Yeah, not even an 11 a.m. light beer.
No, I mean, it was a Garibaldi. That's pretty light.
Sure, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's a day drink.
But I had 4 before noon.
Great.
Yeah, it was, I try not to drink that heavy, but, that day stress was super high. So background story why stress was super high, the guide sends you questionnaires and information, and they sent us a questionnaire for both Chug. There he is again, everyone. Chef Manny. Gosh. We did it. Yeah, we did. So they sent us questionnaires. They sent us a questionnaire for Ariete, and then a month later they sent us a questionnaire for Chug's, which I was like, this is super weird. But, because Chug's was never built or had any aspirations to be Michelin anything. I mean, it was a diner. It was supposed to be everyday dining, and it is everyday dining. So, and they also sent us a questionnaire about Nave, and I was like, I don't know, I'm so confused, right? And then they sent out invites, and they sent out 2 invites to me, one of which went to Chug's, and then the other one went to my personal one, and I didn't know if Ariete was even invited.
Thanks to our sponsor, Aganorsa Leaf Cigars.
Aganorsa Leaf is renowned throughout the world for its signature flavor that possesses all the great attributes of Nicaraguan terroir, along with classic Cuban aroma and flavor.
Aganorsa Leaf is pleased to announce a brand new edition of Guardian of the Farm, Cerberus, named after the mythical 3-headed hound that stood watch at the gates of Hades. This exciting new Nicaraguan puro uses 100% Aganorsa leaf tobacco and is wrapped in Aganorsa's new Corojo 2012 cover leaf, which adds a level of complexity to the blend, adding light spice and a rich, smooth body to the blend.
When you smoke one of our world-class blends, you will experience the difference between ordinary tobacco and Aganorsa leaf. That's why we say our leaf is our strength. Learn more about Aganorsa leaf and use their store locator and find a cigar shop near you that carries their products at www.aganorsaleaf.com.
The 2 of us smoke Aganorsa Leaf cigars often. We also offer them to a lot of our guests, like, for example, Dave Arvello, who every time I post a picture of a Cerberus mentions to me in my DMs or in a text how cool the band is, which it actually is a pretty slick-looking band. But also, I just want to note, little personal anecdote here, so it's not all totally straight-up red. I can say that Michael Beltrán will absolutely not only vouch for the quality of Aganorsa cigars, but you met a Miami legend and handed him an Aganorsa cigar.
I did meet a Miami legend. I was smoking nearby Alonzo Mourning, and we had a conversation about cigars, and he handed me one of his, and I went inside. I bought this exact same cigar, and I handed Alonzo Mourning this Aganorsa cigar, and I said, try this. Thank me later.
I mean, if that's not an endorsement, I don't know what is. Aganorsaleaf.com. Thanks to our sponsor, The Barrel. This is a barrel-style cooker you've heard a good amount about on the podcast. I was able to use it a ton in my yard and loved it. It is a unique design, a conversation piece, and most importantly, at least to me, an easy-to-use cooker with loads of capacity for ribs, chicharrón, chicken, cheese, fish, burgers, and that is just a list of the stuff that I was cooking all at once in a cooker not much wider than I am, although I'm pretty wide these days. Mike, not long ago, we took some time during a podcast to cook with The Barrel in the garden behind Ariete, so tell listeners about all of that while I roll some footage of the cook for the video people.
Very intrigued by the design and how the actual chicken was going to come out. I would have loved to actually cook more than one thing in there, but the chicken came out delicious. It was very quick too.
And we only didn't cook more because it was just the 2 of us at that point.
Right.
So
anyways, I think about it too, like the home cook that's going to cook this, and maybe they have 4 people at a table, maybe they have 6. Like, you could cook a good amount of things, because we also cooked some veg on there on the top grill, and then we cooked the chicken underneath it. The vegetables were delicious, and they cooked incredibly fast, and the chicken itself was delicious. We used a whole green circle bird, truss tied, and just hung that thing, and it was really, really good times.
Get all of the information that you need, and of course, buy your own barrel at barrelthebbq.com, barrelthebbq.com, and use promo code PANCON10, that's PANCON10, for $100 off.
$100
of your order when you buy the barrel.
$100.
$100.
I saw a barrel.
The kids call it a C-note.
I saw the barrel at a place the other day.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You sent me a picture.
Yeah, and I was telling everyone around it that was looking at it, I said, don't buy it here. Buy it online.
Don't be a dummy.
And hit PANCON 10, and you're going to save yourself $100. They said, what? I said, yeah, do it. And they were like,
be a sucker.
And then the kid just ran out.
Oh, man.
He just ran straight out of the store.
Peeled out in his car.
Yeah, straight to, yeah. He was on it.
barrelthebbq.com, promo code PANCON10 for $100 off.
C-note. Introducing the newest line from Jura State Cigars. 20 Acre Farm is a complex, refined, and medium body cigar with a super oaky and cedary notes accompanied by a whisper of white pepper and a bright hint of citrus. Built at La Gran Fabrica, Drew Estate in Nicaragua, using a velvety, and I mean velvety, Ecuadorian Connecticut shade grown wrapper.
Under that wrapper is a sun-grown Habano binder and a filler blend of Nicaraguan tobaccos from Esteli and Jalapa in perfect balance with the opulent and majestic Florida sun-grown leaf. Florida sun-grown is also the name of the farm where that tobacco is lovingly grown and harvested by Jeff Borshowitz, who's the guy you see in this video playing behind us, on his pristine 20-acre plot of land near the central Florida town of Claremont. I have actually been to that farm, along with plenty of other cigar tobacco farms in Mexico, Central America, and the Dominican Republic. And what Jeff, who by the way is a very nice guy, there's actually a cigar box signed by Jeff hanging on my wall. What Jeff is doing there is super legit. So it's always cool to see products like his, which is the only premium cigar tobacco grown in Florida, in products from a company like Drew Estate.
Plus, 20-acre farm being a Drew Estate product means it's the creation of master blender and Pan Con podcast guest Willie Herrera. Support our guests and sponsors. Get it online. Ask your local cigar shop about 20-acre farm by Drew Estate. Learn more about Drew Estate and use their store locator to find a cigar shop near you that carries their products at drewestate.com.
That's right. I'm probably going to smoke one of those right now.
What are we waiting for? And so my anxiety was super high and stress was super high. So, when everything was happening, I'm very, very fortunate that I have like very good friends that tried to coach me off a ledge, which was nice.
Yeah.
But what was funny is that they had set up this like sitting area in the front for, I guess, the people that were invited. And I guess they set it over the loudspeaker, whoever was invited to sit in the front, and I didn't hear that. I also wasn't going to sit anywhere, right? I was standing by the back bar, slamming a gin and tonic to the face, watching the screen in the back as they were going through all the like pleasantries, and then like the beverage awards were awarded, which was great. Congratulations to them. Cote won, and the beverage gentleman from Le Jardin won. So that was great. Congratulations to them. And then
was this the was that like a new category? Those were new categories? No.
I mean, I know that when I was in DC, Will from Bresca won that, so that was cool.
Okay, yeah.
So then they get into the bibs, and then I'm a little more anxious. And then they call Chugs, and they call a bunch of people that I love, like during the bibs, right? Like, they call Tinta y Café, which I thought was like incredible.
Yeah, very cool.
And, they call Fukia, which is some other friends of the show. They called Itame, which I thought Itame was more of a star than it was a bib. But I'm not here to really talk about whatever. I'm not an inspector. I don't know what thought process went behind that. And then I asked my business partner to go upstairs and accept the bib, because to go on stage and accept the bib, because I was just so like anxious, right? I was at this point, I still don't even know if Ariete's supposed to be here, And then I'm with Ryan. Ryan is like probably like 5 feet from me. And then Philip Franklin Lee, which has turned into a very fast friend, which we'll get into after why we became friends, was to my left or right behind me. And then they started announcing the awards, and it's alphabetical, and we were announced first. And I didn't see or hear anything. But all I know is that Val Chang is like hugging me, congratulating me. Andrew, my business partner, is like going nuts. Philip and Ryan are also going nuts. And I'm like, I guess we won. And it was like if nothing else, it was like a moment of a lot of like relief, because like we had just gone through so much work. The team had worked so hard. I think everyone involved had really put blood, sweat, and tears into the whole thing. Everyone, every single person that works in this building, and I think for me, I owed it to them. I wanted us to win this for like the team,
Yeah.
And we won. And it was like I haven't quite won I've won, I think, 2 awards since 8th grade.
Okay.
Right. Which was the basketball MVP.
Right.
We talk about all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I won a championship in college.
Okay.
A conference championship. And then I was the rising star for Starships.
Okay.
None of those things are quite so, like, you're waiting for your name to be called.
Just in terms of how it's announced and all that.
Right. You know, it just kind of like Star Chefs, they call you, they tell you, you know.
Right.
You know, obviously football, you play, you win. It was like I've never been quite part of that, waiting for your name to be called. And the moment was surreal. And then also...
And you were the first name called for the Stars.
Yeah.
So that also has to have been like... Because you maybe were preparing yourself to like watch a few names and let it build, but I don't know if you think that's like... Did it feel like more of a shock or less of a shock? I guess you don't know what it would have been like.
I knew that
they
were going to be alphabetical. So I knew...
Oh, you did? Okay, I didn't know that.
If we did win, it would be first or bust. I don't think there was any other A's that were in the category.
Yeah.
So...
Okay, I didn't know it was alphabetical. That makes sense.
So then, you know, go up on stage. I haven't worn a chef's jacket in 7 years. Give you the chef jacket. You go up on stage. I shake the president of Michelin's hand. Then you look back out on stage, or like from the stage, and it's just this like, fuck, I'm really here.
Yeah.
Like, there's like lights, and then you see all the Michelin stars hanging, and you're in this tent, and there's people all dressed very posh, and I'm just wearing a t-shirt. Very...
Oh, but now you got a jacket, so...
Right, very on brand.
Yeah.
And, man, it was just like, it's hard to put into words what that felt like.
Yeah.
The one thing I did feel very much was I missed my team very much at that moment. I had plenty of videos sent to me from the restaurant, and what I heard happened here was they were all... So anyone who dined that night, I'm sorry, but they were all in the back watching the live feeds that were very choppy. Some were choppy, some were not choppy.
With these Gio's feed and maybe also Brenda, I think, had a thing going.
A couple like that. And then all of a sudden the restaurant just like kind of like erupted. And we actually kept our books pretty tight. Win or lose, we knew that it was either going to be great or everyone would be very sad.
Yeah.
So we kept the books pretty tight on purpose. And there was a couple people that knew what was going on and people that came to celebrate with us. Like the bar was full of friends and family. And some guests that were just kind of like, what the fuck is happening here? You know?
They must have caught on eventually.
They did catch on eventually. And then the restaurant was just like, it erupted. And there's some really like beautiful photos. There's some really beautiful moments of like champagne showers. And, you know, it was crazy. And then, you know, like after the whole thing happened, obviously I was first. So then like by the time we got to S, I was like exhausted. I was already like, the one thing that was for sure is I was emotionally drained from the whole thing. Like very much emotionally, just like so much leading to here, like a month of waiting, 4 months after the initial email, and then a month of waiting, and then a month of talking to my friends of like, you know, I do think that we worked very hard, and I think that we're in that caliber, and I think it proves it now.
Right.
You know, but man, to like be there and then to see the team feel fulfilled, you know, in this industry, more often than not, you don't really feel like that fulfillment of like, you're a competitor, you want to win, you want to do things. It's not really like that. But in this instance, it was. And I just I was so happy for them. My business partners, I don't know if I've ever seen them cry so much, you know? Because those guys, they fought with us, you know, like they fought in different capacities, but they fought with me.
It's a part of it.
You know, they were, I don't, like Andrew Falsetto, which is one of my partners, was with me. And at like 9:30, he was like, I'm done for the night. I'm just going to my hotel room. I'm just like, I'm tapped the fuck out. I was like, I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
you know? And just to see like, because the one thing I keep telling people when they congratulate me is all I can say is, we did it. Mm-hmm. That's it. Nothing else. I can't really, like I'm terrible at compliments.
Yeah.
You know, and like people are just, oh, you know, you guys are so great. All I can say is, we did it. You know, like, we did it. We did it. That's the only thing I keep telling myself. And I like pinch myself every day. Is like, we actually did it. You know, so many people said Michelin wouldn't come. Mm-hmm. So many people said that there was no stars here. So many people just fought me tooth and nail. Like, Miami's not deserving. And I hope all those people can fucking eat shit right now. 150 fucking %. And you know who exactly every single fucking person you are. Because you doubted us from top to bottom. And we did it. And not just me. There's 11 stars in South Florida, 15 in the state. And, you know, I think it shows a lot about like the Orlando food scene. A lot of people doubted like what they could do. They got 4 stars. Some people I know that I've like I don't know them super well personally, but like they've dined here. We've communicated a lot. People that work hard, people that like really want to be good and great, and they won stars, you know? And I think it just shows like, I think the most interesting thing is like the day after, everything just seemed a little tighter everywhere, like all over the city, just like a little, there was a little burn, and that's good. Competition is great.
Right.
Competition is important.
Yeah.
Because if you're not fighting to be the best, I don't know, like, you know, for me, I think we're always trying to be better than we were the previous day, right? Yeah. To me, that's how I think. And I want to be the best restaurant in the city. And right now we're not, and we're going to be the best. We're going to be the best, at least in the star category. We are. Yeah. And, you know, like, it's just, I don't know. I feel like it's so good for us as a community in a lot of ways, because it gives people something to fight for.
And not only that, but I think there's also an element of like, there's a competitiveness in that, like, maybe like a comparison sort of sense in that sense, right? But but it's also not a limited number of spots.
Right.
So I think it makes it sort of healthy, and it doesn't have to disrupt the sort of like community aspect of it.
Absolutely not. You know, and from the community side, that picture that Michelin took of me, which is probably one of the better pictures ever taken of me, I was like, man, I look pretty good right there.
I don't know if I know what picture.
I was wearing a coat. I was like, you know, lighting was right.
Tremenda pinta.
Yeah, it was all of that. And
the Michelin code is the ultimate toquecito.
It is the ultimate. That was when they called, and it's just like my hands up and I have the star in my hand, and that's when they called Boyade up on stage, because I was so happy for them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, because it's another Miami, I think, staple at this point.
Yeah.
2 people that work very hard, that believe in the food that they're doing, and I think they do it very well. And I was just like, I was elated. I was full with joy for them. And it just shows, like, you know, just rewinding back to like before the ceremony, my friend Philip Franklin Lee, is not from here, and he's going to come here now and open a place. And he just kept telling me, he's like, man, the community that you guys have is so tight. Because legitimately, like, we were all waiting in the lobby, we were all drinking too much, and we all were just like very supportive of each other, and we all cared about each other a lot. And I think it shows a lot of the strength of the community and how much people, like, you know, like, I want everyone to win, you know. And
it's also a very Miami way to be too, I think.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah. I think that there's something about, I think it's just that, you know, I think Miami sort of breeds a much more familiar kind of relationship.
Sure.
You know, like, and I saw a lot of that kind of thing from the cigar industry. Like, people who were like new to the cigar industry would come into it. I think that the cigar industry is that way so much because it's so heavily Latin.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And it's funny because, like, his place is in Austin, or one of them is in Austin. I don't know where else he has places.
Montecito.
Yeah.
Montecino. I don't know.
Which is like not necessarily it's not a bigger market. It's not like as a sprawled out market. So I think a lot of people might like know a little bit about Miami and not imagine that, because they think like these people are all so far away from each other. Like, how could they possibly have that kind of relationship with one another?
Right.
But I think it's just kind of like something about the culture here.
And something else I'll note from that day, because obviously, like, several people have asked me about it. Like, Jeremy Ford and myself have never been friends. We've had beef now for 5 years.
I saw a little bit. I don't know anything about that, which was I was surprised by. Like, we've never spoken about that, so I don't know.
Well, because I'm not going to air my dirty laundry.
No, even you and I personally have never spoken about that.
Right, and it was, you know, and I guess when I look back on it, it was 5 years ago, and I felt like I had huge chips on my shoulder, and I felt like I was definitely fighting against the world at that point. And I think since then, like, the way I look at things has changed. But in reality, I knew that Jeremy was invited and he was there. And I know that Jeremy is a very good cook. You know, I think he puts out really solid food, and I think he's good for the city. And I thought at this point, like, with everything I was going through at that moment, like all the feelings that I was feeling, I really thought that my energy, putting it into that, like, such an old beef needed to be squashed. Mm-hmm. So I reached out to him and I told him, I said, look, you know, all things aside, I wish you the best today. And I really hope that you win. And I hope that you get everything that you want to get. And he was like, you know, I really want us to squash our beef. I was like, consider it done, you know? And I think that when you look at things prospectively and you think about, like, personal growth and stuff like that, that was a big growing moment for me personally, because I was like, you know, I really do just want to see people win. Doesn't mean I'm not going to call people out on their bullshit, but I do think that the guy cooks his ass off, and I think that it was deserved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Jeremy of Stubborn Seed.
Stubborn Seed. We call it the Stubborn Semilla.
Is that what we call it?
That's what we call it here in house.
Stubborn Semilla.
Yeah, that's what we call it here in house. Yeah.
So just to round that out, that's what things looked like up until and during the ceremony. And then you mentioned missing your team. How about when you finally get back to everybody?
Well, there's more that happened that day.
Okay. Oh.
So
Sounds heavy.
No, but not like heavy. Just like it was. I felt like it was incredibly fast. Everything happened like really fast. Obviously, like, great things happen fast. Things that suck happen slow. But it felt like very fast, and then on stage and then off stage, and like, I'm very hard to keep in one place for too long of a time, and I'm just like finding a bar to get a drink so I could just kind of like calm myself. And it's like, you know, then I see Michael, and then Michael hugs me and he congratulates me, and
this is Michael Schwartz.
Schwartz, yeah. And I go outside and I call my mom, and, you know, like, I don't think or a lot of people quite understand, like, the gravity of something like that and what it means to a restaurant, you know?
Yeah.
Because my mom's not like a foodie. But hearing her so proud and made me very happy, and just like just waterfall of phone calls and congratulations, and I don't think I've actually quite answered all of them yet, and it's just been so many random people after the fact that I have never met congratulating me, saying that, you know, we love your restaurant, we love what you guys do. It just showed Ariete's really had an impact.
Yeah.
And I feel that so deep, and it just made me so happy. Because, man, the last like 2.5 years, there hasn't been a lot of happy times. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of like, well, this sucks and we figure it out. Well, that sucks and we figure it out. And then we figure it out again.
Yeah,
and
a lot of fires to put out.
Yeah, and then post the big fire, figuring out post fires and just kind of like figuring those things out. And then fuck. And then even more so, like, Chug's winning a bib.
Yeah.
Like, that to me was monumental. Like, Chug's was never invented to be that. Chug serves croquetas, pastelitos, and coffee. And a place that specializes in like kind of like simple Cuban food and American food too, won a bib.
Yeah.
And as much as like Ariete's star made me happy, like that just filled me with so much like man, we did something special there.
Yeah. And on top of that you didn't quite see it coming. Like until you saw, from what I understand, until you saw the emails come into Chug's emails, that was if somebody had asked you like, I don't know, 4 months ago, what do you think, what are your hopes or what might you anticipate? I don't think that you would have said a bib for Chug's.
Never.
Yeah.
And it's not because I don't think it's great.
Yeah, just not on your mind.
It just wasn't like part of the program.
Right.
And it's the same thing with Tinta. Like Tinta was recognized. They do croquetas, pastelitos, and coffee too. And I love that. I fucking love that. Like for us as a city, for us as a culture, like fuck, man, that's amazing. So it just, I don't know. That shit was fucking incredible,
Yeah.
And then post all of it, just talking to people and really getting like a vibe of, after a while, I think when people's guards are down, they kind of let you know a little bit more about what they thought of what it is that we do. And people really enjoy what we do. And I think it just proves more, and we're going to drive even harder now.
Yep.
I think.
Yeah.
I know, actually.
So, unless there's something else that you want to do with that, we can transition
into coming to see my team.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So I flew because my anxiety wouldn't let me drive.
How'd you get up there?
We flew.
You flew? Okay.
Yeah, we flew, and we came back, got back to Miami. I took a much-needed 45-minute nap, and then I came back here straight into pre-shift, and just like seeing everybody, just like it was in like an essence of like, we did it, we're ready, and we're going. And just like hugging everyone and talking to everyone and what it really meant to everybody. That all was like incredible. We went through the weekend. We had like an internal celebratory party at our newest location, and that was quite the scene.
We're talking about at the Mighty.
You were there.
I was there, and I sent you a picture of a couple of friends who were there by sheer coincidence.
Right.
Yeah.
That were part of the champagne shower.
They practically were the champagne. They took a champagne shower.
I would like to say openly, I warned them.
Did you really?
I did. I was like, I don't think you guys should be sitting there.
Yeah.
And I got up and I said a speech that was much more fitting for like a football game than like a celebration. Yeah. But that's just part of who I am. So
I sent it to my to our Salina, Kansas fan base, mainly because the showerees she was her bridesmaid, and my sister told me. So I sent it to my sister. And she sent back a text along the lines of like, LOL, I don't think I've ever heard anyone sound so angry about winning something.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't help the football player.
Yeah.
It's always going to be there. But,
yeah,
like that whole moment, seeing my team just finally like take a moment to let it sink in. We closed for the night here at Ariete, and then we all went over there, and it was just like, man, and there's got to be like 3 or 4 like Michelin star tattoos already in the company.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and it just shows like people, they really wanted it.
It's a big fucking deal though.
Yeah,
like I think every field that has some kind of like a recognition that's known globally like that, people are tattooing it. Olympians get Olympic logos tattooed on them, and restaurant people get Michelin stars.
I mean, I don't know. In our field, I would say like, since I was a young cook, things that seemed outside of the realm of possibility, one of which was doing a duck press. The other one is winning a Michelin star.
Yeah.
And when things became more real, like 2.5 years ago, I always said like, they could never come, but these are our standards.
Right. In other words, people will know this is a Michelin caliber place, whether it has a star or not.
Correct. And man, it's hard for me to fathom, like from those conversations that probably happened in this room to Thursday night.
Yeah.
Like that journey which it's been so fucking rough. And I had posted something. I was like, I lost a lot to win one. Because, man, like you lose friends, you lose relationships, you lose so much in that process, because you're just trying to do what you think is right overall, and you grind yourself to a point that it's like, I mean, we were grinded sharp.
Yeah.
And we still are. And I think even more so today than we were last Thursday. Mm-hmm. Because then it's post all of that happening, it's like, what's next for us? Like, where do we take it from here? So, yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
As per Michelin?
Yeah, I mean, before we transition to Ask Mike Anything stuff.
Yeah. Job's not done.
Sure.
That's it.
So, actually, that's a good transition, because so before we recorded this, maybe like 24 hours ago, I posted on Instagram soliciting questions for an Ask Mike Anything session.
Spicy.
A little spicy.
Spicy.
One of them, I said I wouldn't reveal who submitted the questions.
Sure.
I'll say it and bleep it out. Just
pew, pew, pew. Oh, sure.
His question was, so are you going for 2? I assume he means chili cook-off championships.
Right. I think I've hung that one up.
So, I mean, I'll amend the question because I think it's obvious enough you want to.
Mm-hmm.
So the 2-part question would be, do you see Ariete as the vehicle toward 2? And if so, what does that mean? Like, what adjustments? What are you adding? What are you doing? What are you tweaking? What are you...
I think last Wednesday we were a 2-star restaurant.
Okay.
And I think that we will continue to drive for that.
Why last Wednesday specifically?
Because I think over the last 8 months, we have fine-tuned ourselves to be as great as we possibly could be.
Okay.
And I think post winning a star, I think all that really changes is like eyeballs on what you do. Mm-hmm. And it changes like how you can operate some. And I think we will continue to drive in that direction. And I think, like, what does that really mean? I think all it really means, and it's what we've said since Thursday, is retain or gain. Mm-hmm. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and for clarity, because actually I spoke with Carluba about this, and he wasn't aware. So I'm thinking maybe other people who are, more casual observers were not aware of the fact that that there is the possibility of any restaurant gaining or losing stars.
For sure.
And so the pressure's on. It's not like and nobody's done.
Yeah. I mean, in my mind, we're always like, we're never going to be in a place that we're like, okay, we're good.
Right.
It's just not, that's not part of the Ariete like mantra. That's not who we are. That's not who I ever want to be. Yeah. Are we a little more like vindicated today than we were a week ago? Maybe. But do we believe that the job is done? Absolutely not, because we're always going to strive to be better.
So next question, and now we're like shifting gears pretty hard into the non-Michelin territory. Would you ever consider going on Beat Bobby Flay, and what would be your signature dish?
So, shockingly, because I've actually been spending more television time with my mom than I was previously, I watched Beat Bobby Flay for the first time like 4 days ago.
First time ever?
Maybe 2 days ago. I don't even know.
First time ever, though?
First time ever.
You hadn't seen the Guerras?
No.
Oh, they were on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't really watch food TV ever.
Okay. No, I just thought, maybe if knowing people who were on there, you would want to go watch it. But anyway, okay, so first time you ever see it.
So, interesting show. I actually like Bobby Flay. I think he's a really nice guy.
Seems relatable.
He's been here to Ariete before. He's a very nice guy. I would never do that kind of food television. It's just not part of who I am. Mm-hmm. What would be my signature dish?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they allot you time to do that, but I mean, oxtail is probably my signature dish.
Oh no, I think they do though. I think that's the whole.
Oh, do they? Maybe I didn't quite catch that.
Because he might have different shows. The one that I'm familiar with is one where it's like he goes to you to try to beat you at your own thing. So he goes to the guerras and he does.
No, the one I watched was more like Kitchen Stadium.
Oh, no. Yeah. Okay. Well, so because he was also on Iron Chef America or whatever.
Right. No, but this one is built more. The one that I saw.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the 2022 version. Is more like Kitchen Stadium. Like there's people in the stands and.
Okay, but let's suppose that it's where there is a like.
Yeah, Oxtail.
He's going to come and beat you at your own game. He's got to beat you at Oxtail.
I would crush him, but yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I got it. We're good.
Cool. Next question. What's up with the gold tooth?
I saw that. That's so good. You know what I ask people all the time when they ask me like dumb shit like that?
Dumb shit.
Because they ask me about my braids too, and I like to be very open about the fact that I've been getting braids since I was like 16 years old, right?
Yeah.
So for all like a good majority of my football games, I would get braided up. In like almost all my football games in college, I would get braided up. It's just, when you go into war, you got to be war ready, and that's how I've always felt about my braids. So the gold tooth was always. And I had gold caps in college also. It was really just something we've talked about several times. It's just that little toquecito.
Little toquecito.
Right. And I also relate it to people all the time. When they ask me about the gold tooth, and I was like, well, what's up with those shoes? It's like, well, I like them. I was like, well, I like my gold tooth too. So why does it fucking matter to you if I have a gold cap or not?
I told people that I'm going to bleep all of the identities out, but just for your own enjoyment, I think I know who this person is, but that was from, I think you'd pronounce it.
Pew, pew, pew. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He wants to know what's up with the gold tooth.
Yeah, it's the guy from... pew, pew, pew. Oh, congrats to him. He just had a baby, I think.
This is in Spanish. I'll translate for the people.
Okay.
¿Qué es lo que van a abrir en Cocowac? Yo quiero sushi cubano, cojones. Which translates to, what are you opening in Cocowac, which is the shopping mall a few blocks away from here, because you're opening something there.
Yeah.
And this person also notes that they would like for it to be Cuban sushi.
Well, I'll never do sushi, not because I don't appreciate it and think it's very special, but it's just not in my realm of things that I know. The company itself, and this is not just a Mike Beltran project, this is a company project, is opening a Greek Mediterranean restaurant attached with a small oyster and ceviche bar. Okay. Yeah.
So, next question. I'll read the question, and then I'm going to assume that you'd rather not answer it in this way, and I will change the question.
Okay.
Because the question is, who got snubbed on the star?
Sure.
So, you could answer the question if you want to deal with it that way.
Well, I'll say this. I'm not an inspector, and I don't know what their guidelines are, right? I know what we did, and I know all the measures we took to hopefully win that star, which we won. And now the game completely changes to like, how do we win too? But do I think that there were people that I thought were 1-star worthy? Absolutely. And I would think that, the only person that really comes to mind 100% is Itame, and that's from a food stance. I think that their food is special and I love it. And I think that Nando and Val are incredibly talented. And I just, I look at it that way. Why they didn't, I don't know. I couldn't tell you who got snubbed. Do I think that there was some curveballs? Sure. But again, it's not my place to say.
Yeah, and I'll throw in, just from the standpoint of like, at the end of the day, we're talking about a thing that's for publishing purposes, right? And I think it's probably important to keep in mind, number one, that you don't know what happened, right? What their specific criteria are, what experiences they had, because anybody anywhere, including Ariete, like anybody anywhere can have an off night.
For sure.
And you never know if that's when somebody showed up. And maybe that's not what happened. Who the fuck knows? But also just from the standpoint...
But just to quickly say, like, the stuff that they published and they talked about that Ariete was serving was so long ago.
No, and they do multiple dines.
Right.
Yeah.
But the stuff that stood out to them that they talked about was so long ago, before we even went super in depth.
I see. Okay.
Before we even went super in depth of like, I always thought we were precise, but I wanted to be even more so. I thought that we were good, but I wanted it to be even better. Like
how long ago are we talking about, time frame wise, give or take?
8 months, maybe?
Oh, yeah. No, 8 months. Ariete 8 months ago was not the same.
6, 7, 8 months ago. Like,
Yeah.
Just thinking about it. You know, it's always based on dish, right? Like, you know, we have dishes that cycle in and out. And I mean, the dishes that they ate were...
No, if that's the case, I mean, I would agree with you 100%. If I'm not saying whether it's 2-star or not, but if they don't see you as 2-star, they would have to at least see you as closer to 2-star now.
Well, that's the other interesting thing too about stars, and I have this conversation with Ryan often, which is like the 1-star category. I think is one of the more special ones because you have there's so much things that vary there.
Sure.
You have things that are pretty simple in nature and execution that they find to be 1-star, and then you have stuff that's closer to fine dining that's closer to 2 stars. And I think that stuff is very interesting. You know, when I eat at Bresca, so I've eaten there several times, like I think Bresca is super close to a 2-star restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, from everything from execution to food to service, like.
Which for context is past guest Ryan Rentino's restaurant, which is in Washington, D.C. and has 1 star.
Right. And I thought, and the same thing with John. Like John's got 2 stars, and man, that was one of the best meals I've ever had.
Yeah.
And when I think about it, I've eaten at several 3 stars, and I ate at John, and I was like, man, John's is, I mean, it's definitely up there, if not better than some 3 stars.
Yeah.
Do I think that they're going to get their 3 stars? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting, you know, how that works, and I couldn't tell you how it works. I've eaten at a lot of 1 stars, and there's some 1 stars that I'm like, man, this could be a fucking 2 star. I've eaten at other 1 stars, and I'm like, yeah, this is a 1 star.
Yeah.
You know, and so I don't know. I'm not an inspector, so I couldn't fucking tell.
Yeah. So let me change the question a little bit, and I'll give you kind of like a little example of where my head is. But the point I was going to make earlier was that at the end of the day, we're also talking about a publisher that's publishing a thing. I have not experienced doing that with restaurants, but I do have some experience. Like when at Cigar Snob, we were rating, something like 50 to 60 cigars an issue, and there are space, and you're budgeting for a lot of things. You're budgeting money, you're budgeting space, you're budgeting all kinds of shit. So as an example, like you got one. Not all of this is perfectly analogous, but if you're going to have a page for cigars of the Churchill size, if you're going to do a page, you got to have X number of cigars to fill the page. And it also means that if somebody comes out in the 7th spot, unless you've got enough cigars worth rating to justify a whole other page, that might mean that cigar gets left out of the issue, whatever it might be. There's a million different ways that can go. It's also money. Like at some point, the Michelin people have X amount of dollars to spend on these dines.
Sure.
So it's a million different factors. So, which I only bring up so as to remove ourselves from the conversation of snubbing, because it may not have been a snub if somebody was left out. So I will say, given how things turned out and that there will be a guide next year, who are some restaurants that for whatever reason it might be were not in the conversation that you think, like, if they expanded geographically, if they were just spending more money on dines, like it might be cool to see, keep an eye out for this one or that one or that one that, we should look out for next year rather than talking about who got snubbed this year.
I mean, I would just say that I think Jiménez is a starred restaurant.
Sure.
And I think Zidsum is on their way.
In other words, rather than get into the mud of like who got snubbed, I would just say like, what might be cool to keep an eye on for next year, given that there will be another
I
guide.
definitely think that Finca should be in the guide. It should be a restaurant that's recommended by the guide, because I think it extends how far out Miami really does go.
Yeah.
I think places like Lake Coup, I've never been there, but I hear nothing but good things. It's a very good place and an interesting location. I do think that Fiola also is a restaurant that could be Michelin recommended. Mm-hmm. I don't know if... See, like when it comes into the recommendation side and how it goes for like bibs and stuff, I know that what people spend has something to do with it. like it's supposed to be under a certain bracket of spend. I don't know if that's like a thing.
Yeah.
Too. So I don't know. Again, there's a lot of layers to it that I don't necessarily know like all the answers to it.
When does Mike sleep?
Well, usually like fall asleep around like 3, and then I wake up at like 7:30. I sleep.
All right.
Yeah, I sleep.
It's not a lot of sleep to a lot of people, but
Yeah, it's enough. It gets the job done.
gets it done.
Yeah.
This is more of a me question, but are sponsored ads going up in price?
I tried to make this happen.
When they're all sold, they'll go up in price.
Yeah.
Right now, the goal is to actually sell them.
So that means the email is ads at dademag.com.
That's right. Ads at dademag.com. How we already went through some of this, so we can be brief with this. But how does it feel to open that little red book and see 2 of your babies in there? Which I use dancing baby gifs for the poster. Yeah. Surreal. Do you realize, this is the one that you told me was heavy.
Yeah.
Do you realize the scope and influence this podcast has done for Florida chefs?
Let me ask you, do you realize?
I don't think I realize.
I don't think I realize either. And I think it's an important question because we often, you and I both look at this like it's just usually 3 people or just the 2 of us talking shit into microphones. And people do listen. And I think people have taken a lot away from this. And I think it's because of, one, this has been a very organic growth, right?
Right.
From everything like during COVID, getting real drunk in your backyard, talking about shitty rap or bad or good rap or whatever.
Right.
To
I like that. That's the thing you remember.
I remember that so well because we were drinking Canuvinius, right?
Canuvinius.
Right?
Yeah.
And just to having very serious conversations like our last podcast, to having really great guests that are very raw, like Danny Surfer, and people like Ed Reed and Brett Romberg. And just like, I don't know, I feel of all the things that I've done, and I feel reflective. It's been a very reflective like week. I'm very proud of what we've done here because, the one thing that's for sure. Here she comes. She comes. All right.
Nicholas, do you need another beverage?
No, thank you though.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Case.
You're so welcome.
I think of all the things that have happened, like never once, I don't know, we're 105,000 episodes into this thing.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah. It's never once been about money. Obviously we would like to make money off of this thing. But we've never kind of like wavered in the consistency of how we've done this. And I think that's something that's at least stayed true for me for 6 years because I didn't pull a paycheck for a very long time in this building. And I don't know, I feel like this podcast is as special as a lot of things because we talk about a lot of shit that people don't want to talk about. We bring to light a lot of things that people don't want to bring to light. And I don't know about if I understand the influence that it's had,
right?
But I do appreciate what it's done for me, like vocally. Like I'm comfortable vocalizing my thoughts, and I'm comfortable having other people vocalize theirs. And,
right.
And I think it's educated me a ton. I think I've learned a ton about other people and other operations and really appreciated different things from like beer, like Falco. Like I don't know much about beer. And it's just, I don't know. It's been, if nothing else, it's been very influential on me.
Sure.
For me.
Yeah. When... You'll know exactly where this came from. When will Pig Ink Apparel drop the Real Men Listen to Sade line?
Okay. All right, Dave. Give me a month, Dave. Yeah, where does Bond, Dave? Well, give me a month.
Does he like, he being you, does he like Nick Jimenez's coffee?
I do.
Oh, that is.
I
You heard
do.
it here
I
first,
just-
ladies and gentlemen.
I know. I just need to. I like to fuck with Nick. So it's just something I fuck with Nick about.
I will say I wouldn't blame you if you didn't, because the only coffee of mine that you've had is like Bustelo without sugar or so much as that in it.
Right, and it's tough. It's not. I don't
It's
really
rough.
blame you for that.
Yeah. I can't remember who you said. I'm sure, because we gave multiple answers. I'm sure you said Bourdain.
Mm-hmm.
But my point is, we got this question the last time we did this Ask Mike Anything thing, like a year and a half ago. So we'll just revisit it. Maybe you have new answers. Dream podcast guest.
Yeah, I mean it's still Bourdain.
If you had,
Another person.
how about this? Dream podcast guest who you wouldn't have thought of a year and a half ago. Like maybe somebody you met or became aware of, or somebody who's doing new shit.
Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is in the not alive category.
Right.
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman. I feel like the stories I've heard about like why he took roles, how he took roles, and then everything leading up to his death. Mm-hmm. Man, I feel like that there's such a wealth of like purpose there.
Yeah.
That I would love to know more about. And I mean, every time I've heard the guy speak and in interviews or whatever, he's like, I don't know. There's a lot there that I would love to learn more about. Just me personally.
Yeah. So back when we had Gio Fesser, the Pastelito Papi on, you guys talked about the concept of a Sade brunch.
Right.
Somebody wants to know, Sade brunch, ? I am still waiting. The people want a Sade
I'll make it
brunch.
happen.
When
I'll
is
make
this
it happen.
happening?
I'll make it happen.
Maybe this was, destiny, because now it'll be a Michelin-starred Sade brunch.
Well, that's why we.
And isn't that what she deserves?
That's why we have kept brunch. We actually have gotten rid of the 19th of this month will be our last Sunday night service.
Interesting.
And we're going to keep brunch.
Next question. How to balance life and work? Is the sacrifice worth the loss of relationship, wife, girlfriend, kid?
I mean, it's definitely a very heavy question.
Yep.
And like I said earlier, I've lost a lot to win one. And I think, because I've thought about that a lot, and some of my older friends have tried to kind of like paint me into a corner to ask me the same question.
Okay.
Over the last 7 days. And I don't have an honest like yes or no. Is there an honest answer to that? I know for me, certain things that I wanted to accomplish in life, if I didn't get there, I was going to feel not quite empty, but I was going to feel like unfinished.
Yeah, unfulfilled.
Right. And I think I'm a competitor like through and through. So since a very young age of people telling me I quite couldn't do it, because it was always like I had this conversation with Brittany Rothwell, our COO, a week ago, maybe more like 10 days ago. It's like I was always like the second one. I was always like just not quite there. I was always like, and it felt like you're getting to, like you're really good at a lot of things, but you're not quite great. And that like consistent of just like, as a competitor, consistent for, I mean, I've been competing for 20 years more. It wears you down. And mentally, it'll get to you. So you can't really do anything else well. So do I think that maybe I've achieved something to maybe I can open up another part of my life? Maybe. But I think it's too soon for me to like be able to say that. How do you create balance? Balance is created differently for everybody.
Right.
So I think that's an unfair question, and I can't answer that question for somebody else. I'm still trying to figure out that question for myself. Because just equally, in those conversations with some of my older friends, everything that happened in that conversation, they were just like, well, you just like go back to like talking about restaurants. And it's tough because it's like fight or flight. In the last like 2.5 years have been fight or flight. Like you're fighting to survive, and that's all you know. I don't know if I've taken quite a moment to like just take a deep breath and like think about things that have happened or achievements that we've won. And I was having another conversation with Larry Carino just a couple of days ago, just like, and he like bullet pointed, a lot of the things that we've accomplished in the last 2.5 years. And I didn't quite realize all that. And it's a lot, and I think for me, 'cause it's always like drive to be better. But when are you just at your best?
Right.
It's different for everybody. I don't know if I've quite had that reflective moment that I know that enough. And I think that moment is different for everybody. People find a lot of validation and fulfillment in like having a family and kids and so on and so forth. And maybe hopefully one day I find the same. But for me right now, I had a goal which was to help put Miami on the map, to put my version of Cuban food and Cuban influence in food on the map. And we did that. I stood on that stage with that shirt that I've worn so many times when hopefully people would see it. And we did it. I did it on purpose because we were on that stage and that was a worldwide stage, So it's a multifaceted fight.
Yep.
The personal fight is different, and I think everyone kind of like consumes that and lives that in a different way.
Next up, which Iron Chef would you have challenged from the original Iron Chef America?
Ready?
Oh.
Ale Cuisine! I have to say, in all of my years of cooking, that is by far my favorite food television show. The original Iron Chef.
Yeah.
And I always, in my brain, it always goes back to like episode Octopus. And like, they're just grabbing a live octopus out of a tank and they're throwing it in a boiling hot pot of water. And the octopus like trying to get out. It's like a fucking disaster, So I had to remind myself, because it's been so long since I've watched the show. And I watched some of the intros.
Yeah. I love the at the end.
Yeah.
That's good.
But my favorite is at the intro when he's like, was talking about how he spent all of his wealth building Kitchen Stadium. And he's got this like little pastry and he's like, it's like so good, man. It's like so extra.
Wait, so what is it that you just said? What did you just scream?
It's like he says a la cuisine.
A la cuisine.
That's what it sounds like. I don't quite know. But
we're going with that.
That's what I'm going with. That's what I've always said back when I was like a young cook and I was like the guy who would fuck around and just like try to crush kitchens. I would yell that shit all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
That's good.
At the beginning of service, and like I was such a disaster back in the day. But Hiroyuki Sakai, which is Iron Chef French, would be the gentleman that I would like to go against.
Hiroyuki Sakai. What do you remember about Hiroyuki Sakai?
He's just the guy who specializes in French cuisine.
Got it. Okay.
And that's something I feel like I could vibe with.
Yeah.
We could go head to head here. Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to go against the Italian guy.
Sure.
I'm not, that guy. And he's like, he has the most spectacular mustache. So that's really the guy who I would like to beat. Modern day.
Okay. Sure.
Modern
Yeah.
day stuff, I would probably go against Morimoto.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, there was like two different
Yeah.
Iron Chef whatevers.
Right.
Yeah.
Are there other projects?
Actually,
sorry. Go ahead.
No, wait, there's more. So like in year 3 of Ariete, Food Network had reached out about being on their new version of Iron Chef.
Right.
And I was like, man, I hate food TV. But I was like, I don't know, man. Getting Gio like on like Kitchen Stadium. And I was like, listen, if we do this, can we my plan was to dress up like UM in the 80s, right? So all the fatigues, And they were like, well, you can't do that. And I was like, but I really want to do that. I think that's why they stopped talking to me.
Got it.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I did it.
It was, but hold on. Is the Iron Chef that you're talking about the original Iron Chef? Like, is that Iron Chef America?
What do you mean?
The Iron Chef that you're talking, wasn't Iron Chef like originally like not an American thing?
Right. Yeah. Hiroyuki Sakai.
This was a Japanese show.
Yeah, but it was on Food Network.
Got it. Well, because the question was about the original Iron Chef America.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, Morimoto would be the only guy I'd want to go against.
Okay.
But that's not the best Iron Chef, though. People need to broaden their shit. They
Yeah, I
need
mean,
to get on that old school Iron Chef.
not everybody's as cultured as you are.
I like cuisine.
Are there other projects in the works?
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone who's paid attention, we've taken over a location on 22nd and Corway that used to be called the Mighty. It's going to reopen as the Gibson.
This is in Miami's Shenandoah.
Yeah. Chris Hughesby, which is a dear friend and actually the second Pancom podcast guest, or the first guest.
Yeah, first guest.
Second episode.
Right.
Ever. Which I think we'll probably have him back on the show soon.
Yeah.
To talk about journey and whatnot. Is the chef there, and we're going to reopen as the Gibson in mid-July.
Got it.
Another project we've been working on for a long time is Brasserie Laurel, which is being built in downtown, which is next to El Vecino, which is a cigar bar.
Right.
So French with a touch of Cuban brasserie with a cigar bar attached next door.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's the deal with Scoop?
Scoop is kind of out of our hands right now because it's really in the hands of the building owners.
Got it.
There's a lot of stuff and hurdles that they have to work through that has nothing to do with us, but it's something that Scoop is in the forefront of my mind because Chef Devin's stuff, and by stuff I mean ice cream, is incredibly special. So, and not just that, like, that part, and then like the records part and the whole thing, I think it's going to be super dope. So I'm hoping the building can work through all their issues and we can get this thing going. But we've been ready to break ground for 6 months, and we can't.
Got it. Man, I think been at it for just over an hour. I think we can. That's all the questions that we got.
Wow.
Those were all our hard-hitting, curveball questions from this audience. So I don't know if there's anything else that you want to get into before we shut this shit off.
Not really at all. It's been an interesting, not even a week. Tomorrow would be a week. I think the only thing I would like to talk about is a good friend and our next Pancom podcast guest, Philip Franklin Lee, which has been a fast friend. We actually just met 2 weeks ago. And he's a very genuine and great guy, great chef. And we have made a deal that he's going to take over our bed and breakfast to do a omakase pop-up there. And I actually had the opportunity to go to Austin and have the pop-up there and have dinner there. And it was great. And in very Philip Franklin Lee fashion, he released reservations and they were sold out in an hour. So
thanks in part
to Joe Rogan. Yeah.
Who is now not only taking all our Spotify money, but taking the rest of our city's sushi reservations, apparently.
Thanks, Joe Rogan. You'll see us on Spotify eventually. But
that or like some C-level Hulu subscription. Who knows?
Listen, I'm on Hulu. It's fine. Okay.
Coming to you on Paramount Plus.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I like Paramount Plus.
Are you on there for the Star Trek?
Yes, absolutely.
So's my mom.
Yeah. I would definitely. I would say if you can get a reservation at Sushi by Scratch Bar, I would say to do it. Very cool experience. Very cool guy. I'm excited to have him around property and the team, and he's just been like a really great dude to get to know just very quickly. So it's cool.
Cool. With that, we'll do our closeout stuff.
Party recommendations?
Do you have party recommendations?
I do. I really am super enamored by the Rapping Chef.
Oh, you did send me.
Instagram
You sent me
account?
those. Yeah.
He's so good. I like, and I send Gio his stuff, and Gio does this shit all the time by himself in the kitchen. And I find it...
Oh, like rapping while he cooks?
For the last 15 years we've been fucking working together.
Oh,
He's
this
been
is
doing
good.
that. And man, it's just like, this guy's got like 200,000 followers doing it. I'm like, Gio, you do it to nobody in the kitchen. You should do this all the time.
You know, I have like at least one extra microphone if you want to put it on the prep table.
Just all the time.
Yeah.
He's making mac and cheese croquetas, or I'm sorry, pastelitos.
Like
he can just definitely we used to have this, as we were prepping back in the Norman's days, we would say that we would release the Caffeine and Chronic LP, which would be Gio's food rap album.
Yeah.
And man, I wish if I could go back.
Caffeine and Chronic.
If I could go back in time and just record all of Gio's songs, because there's got to be at least 30 of them.
Yeah.
Just from that time frame. Who knows where he's at now? That we would have a gold record or whatever the fuck.
Serious mixtape situation happening.
It would be incredible.
Man.
Incredible. So the rapping chef, I don't know who you are, but man, you do great fucking work. Sicky Dicky is still killing it.
Sicky Dicky, yeah.
Absolutely crushing it. On television, on the tube, I haven't quite gotten to watch the season 6 of Peaky Blinders, but I hear it's good, and it's on Netflix now, which is good for me. I did find myself in a situation that I had to watch The Jungle Cruise, and it was pretty bad but entertaining.
This is The Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is it who else is in it? Is there anybody else of note? It's not with Kevin Hart.
No.
He's not in it.
No.
Okay.
Someone else, but I don't remember their name.
Okay.
Just The Rock, right? Like,
pretty much The Rock.
I found myself in a situation having to watch that movie, and it was entertaining. It was good, I guess. So I guess those are my parting recommendations.
Okay.
What do you got?
Man, that's a good question. What have I seen?
When I was in Orlando,
Yep.
I trekked 30 minutes across town to go visit our friend Matt Hinckley
Okay.
and eat some food, and it was great.
Matt Hinckley's. What did you eat? This is at
so I had
Fancy.
Hinckley's
Fancy
Meats. I had the pastrami sandwich. So I had the pastrami sandwich, and then Matt made me like a large to-go order. And then as I'm leaving, he says, "Do you want a hoagie?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't really eat much. Like, it's okay." And he's like, "Listen, I'm gonna make you an emergency hoagie." And I'm like, "But I don't think I need it." He goes, "Trust me, I think you're gonna need it." So I said, "All right." So he makes me this emergency hoagie, and fuck, whatever. I put it in the little fridge that's in the hotel room, whatever. Everything happens. I come back to my hotel room at like 2:30 in the morning. Haven't eaten.
Yeah.
I literally have not eaten since I had this pastrami sandwich. And I'm very full of alcohol at that time. So the emergency hoagie was not only needed, but it was like necessary. It was just like, it was a necessity of life. And fuck me, that thing was fucking delicious.
Yeah.
It was fucking incredible. I was just like, this is everything someone needs in life at this moment. And Matt Hinckley he is one of the wisest people I know, and he was absolutely correct.
Matt Hinckley. I'm going to recommend, I think I sent this to you in our ongoing WhatsApp thing. It is, I had never heard of these people. Apparently they're a thing because they get a lot of views on YouTube, but I think it's pronounced Polyphia or Polyphia.
Huh?
It's a band.
Okay.
And they do like, I guess what you might describe as like classical and jazz blue guitar fusion stuff, but it's like this like really big over the top sounds. It's like, it sounds like if Mozart had tattoos and a bass guitar. I imagine like this is what it would be like. We could.
No, I'm just like, I look at Adrian because Adrian.
Yeah, Adrian is over there.
Adrian,
pulling
which
stuff.
is our wine director for the company.
Yeah.
Also had one of the most heartfelt Instagram posts of the last week, and also one of the greatest humans that I know, but also was the gentleman who brought the 3 gyro bombs to our party.
Oh,
on
yes.
Sunday and just soaked an entire room of people.
So good.
that was that guy.
But yeah, so I'd recommend specifically. It's Polyphia, and the song or music video that I'm recommending is for something called "Playing God." So it's a straight instrumental thing, and it's mainly guitars and drum.
Cool.
I'll play it when I'm shut all this shit down. I'll play it. I think you'll be into it.
When I was in Austin.
Yeah.
I don't know if I talked about this. I went to a record store.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Did I talk about that or no?
I don't think so.
And I found the original pressed Aaron Neville LP of Tell It Like It Is, which is one of my favorite songs of all time.
Okay.
That fucking record is sublime.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Just listen to it all the way through. It's fucking incredible, man. And to hear it on wax was like...
Shameless plugs, especially now that we got a new song.
We got a new song.
Didn't
we get a new song?
Thanks
that
to Noah.
song is incredible.
Thanks to Noah.
Insert song here. All the things. I still got to recommend all my shit. I mean, we've done this 80 times already.
All the things. All the things. Ariete Nave. Scapegoat and the Taurus. Chugs and the Gibson. All the things.
All the things. At this point, just all the things.
Big Ink Apparel. Scoops and Lorel. Miami gets the world. All the things.
All the things. Insert song.
All the things.
All the things.
All the things.
And finally, shameless plugs for DADE and Pan Con Podcast.
Ads at dademag.com.
That's right. If you want to advertise, it's ads at dademag.com. Find Pan Con Podcast on all of the social media things at Pan Con Podcast. Give us all your money at patreon.com/dademag, DADEMAG. Subscribe on YouTube. It's youtube.com/dademag.
It's shocking how many people actually watch this.
Yeah, I think some people are just more YouTube people. Like I know, like Devin didn't hear much of anything, and then once it was on YouTube, I'm pretty sure because she's like a YouTube person and like watches.
Devin Braddock?
Yeah,
She's a YouTube person?
yeah. Like it was like many episodes deep.
Devin? You're
Devin,
a YouTube person?
She's a YouTube person.
I am shocked.
I'm sure you're not. But
I am shocked.
Are you?
I didn't think Devin would watch our podcast.
oh no, she watches the podcast.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But she was never listening. She just watches it now that you can watch all the things. In between mukbang videos, in between mukbang binges, she's watching Pan Con Podcast.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Devin Braddock because she is the corporate pastry chef of a company that swept.
Well, I messaged her. There were a handful of people I messaged, just because like I'm only restaurant adjacent, so there's not too many people that I have that much of a relationship with here.
I don't know. You went to the party, guy.
I mean, I feel like I should go to something,
Okay.
But I told her, she was one of the people who I told, like, not that other people shouldn't also feel great about it, but she's like in a smaller group of people whose fingerprints are on both or all of those things in some capacity, right? Mm-hmm. Which is pretty cool. So anyway, that's all I got. That's all the things. And
I won't lie. I actually went in. I bought my team little vintage Michelin pins.
Okay.
So they could all wear.
Nice.
Pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
We also made Michelin Pig Ink shirts.
Do they know this?
No.
Adrian was just commenting to me while I was setting up that he was like, man, I really hope they make shirts.
Oh, I'll show you after we're done here.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool.
When are those being distributed?
Oh, I don't know. I may just give them to staff. I don't know.
No. I mean, I just don't want to blow the surprise.
Oh, yeah, right. No one listens. Thank you for joining us here on Pan Con Podcast in the Michelin-starred edition of Pan Con Podcast. And remember, give us all your money on Patreon. We don't have a lightning round. It's okay. Give us all your money.
It's okay.
Anyways.